Do you know that feeling when you finish a great game and then wish you could forget it and experience its story for the first time again? Planescape Torment, one of the best CRPGs of all time, is definitely one such game for many. Unfortunately for us, we can't just drink from the waters of River Styx to wipe our memory. Torment Tides of Numenera was supposed to be that kind of experience, but it completely failed in my opinion. But there is a game that offers the next best thing to forgetting and replaying Torment: Neverwinter Nights 2: Mask of the Betrayer. An amazing epic adventure, but also criminally underappreciated and overlooked. Probably because it's an expansion for Neverwinter Nights 2, which does have a bit of a bad reputation. If you haven't played the base game and don't really feel like it, no worries, you can jump right into Mask and still enjoy it, but we'll get to that. For now, let me tell you why Mask of the Betrayer is one of the best story-driven adventures that you can play on your computer. Contrary to Planescape Torment and its wannabe spiritual successor, Torment Tides of Numenera, Mask of the Betrayer doesn't openly pose a great question to be answered. Still, if Torment asked what could change the nature of a man, then I'd say Mask of the Betrayer asks how far should one go for love and faith. Love and faith are the central themes of the adventure, though they come in all shapes and sizes, such as lovers and motherly love, worshipping a deity and devotion to a cause. This is perhaps what makes Mask of the Betrayer's story so enthralling, because love and faith, in all of their many forms, are universal to all human beings. Even fictional characters from a universe so different from ours can be relatable thanks to this. In Mask of the Betrayer, the Shardbearer, the protagonist of the original campaign, is taken to Rashomon, a land far to the east of the Sword Coast. Rashomon is perhaps best known for being the homeland to the iconic Minsk and the neighbor of the infamous nation of Thay. Taken is the operative word here, as the player character wakes up in a strange underground cavern, confused and heavily wounded. Turns out the Shardbearer bears no shard anymore, as it is gone from their chest. In its place, there is a strange presence stirring within them, a mysterious dark hunger. The cavern is definitely a containment area of some sort. Its previous occupant, or their skeletal remains rather, is also most bizarre. Whoever they were, it looks like they pretty much lied down to die there. Why would anyone place the protagonist there though, an adventurer from thousands of miles away, and what exactly is our affliction remains a mystery. The adventure kicks off with another strange event. Our character is rescued by a red wizard of Thay, who are commonly known to be an evil, power-hungry bunch. However, this particular one, a woman named Safiya, doesn't seem to fit that description, which is all the more reason to be suspicious if you know anything about the Forgotten Realms lore. Ironically, knowledge of the Realms lore is much more useful in Mask of the Betrayer than knowledge of the original campaign. Luckily, I did a lore introduction to Mask of the Betrayer a while ago, and I definitely recommend watching it before playing the adventure. In any case, as you might have already guessed, Mask of the Betrayer is a very personal adventure as opposed to the cliched saving the world type of campaign. Our character already did save the world. Well, the Sword Coast at least, but now it is them that need saving, and saviors don't really seem to be lining up. Mask of the Betrayer is also way darker than the original campaign and many, if not most, CRPGs out there. It explores love and faith in various forms through different characters. During our journey, we can witness the beauty of love and faith, even when very tragic, but also incredible cruelty and injustice that can be born of them. We also witness how greatest efforts with purest of intentions are exercised in futility against the forces that drive the multiverse. Although set in the Forgotten Realms, the story might as well serve as an allegory for things that happen to all of us. However, despite getting very existential at times, Mask is not preachy at all. George Zeitz, who authored the narrative, definitely wanted to write a captivating fantasy story in which you are free to draw your own conclusions, to answer the unasked question yourself. A good story cannot exist without memorable characters though, and there is no shortage of those in Mask of the Betrayer. Let us start with our party. The adventure offers fewer potential companions, but they are much more fleshed out and infinitely more original than those from the base game. definitely on par with the iconic motley crew of Planescape Torment, and the voice acting is absolutely top-notch. Each character is optional, but they all have a strong connection to the story and heavily contribute to the experience. First we have Safiya, the red wizard I already mentioned, who surprisingly isn't outright evil. It's in her name actually, as it means pure in Arabic. Despite the very much earned reputation of the red scum, she frees the player character and promises to take them to somebody who can offer the much needed answers. Safiya has a no-nonsense approach to reality and appreciates resolute, determined people like herself. Interestingly, she is a faithless like Bishop from the original campaign. Faithless Bishop. Sounds interesting when you say it like that. Anyway, Safiya also has a softer side that we can discover, a side that she isn't perhaps very used to. You can even take things to the next level with her if you play a male character. Overall, Safiya has the strongest ties to the story of all companions and comes with an amazing plot twist. On top of that, she's a very capable wizard, making her company a no-brainer in my opinion. Next up is Gann or Dreams, or Gann for short. A spirit shaman, a dreamwalker and a ladies' man who is especially hated by farmers with daughters. Although he's a hexspawn, he doesn't have the brutish features typical to them. On the contrary, he's unusually handsome and charismatic to the point of being vain. However, despite the good looks, he's still treated with great distrust by the Rashemi. Gann's connection to the rich spirit world of Rashomon and his ability to enter dreams make him a valuable addition to your party. Furthermore, he is a faithless, just like Safiya. His lack of faith and contempt for gods combined with being an orphan hexspawn mixes very well with the themes of Mask of the Betrayer. Even being a ladies' man, as in somebody reluctant to or even afraid of commitment, ties in very well to the adventure's exploration of love and the potential romance with a female player character. Of course, everything depends on our actions, but Gann has an interesting and satisfying character arc. The third potential party member is Kaelyn the Dove, a half-celestial cleric of Ilmater, the god of martyrdom, perseverance and suffering. She's a very determined woman, driven by her faith and conviction, which strongly contrasts with her gentle demeanor. When we first meet her, Kaelyn is on a quest to challenge what she perceives to be the greatest injustice of the planes. Whether or not our character and she share that goal is up to us, but the two definitely share the path. Oftentimes, it is the road that is the most illuminating experience, not the destination itself. Kaelyn's backstory, faith, and devotion to her cause work very well with the central themes of Mask of the Betrayer. She's also a bit of a philosopher queen, she is, offering great insights that elude others. And last but not least, she's a powerful cleric that is also capable in melee combat, and her celestial heritage gives her wicked bonuses too. Now we're moving on to the two mutually exclusive companions whose identity are minor spoilers, so now's your chance to skip to the next chapter if you'd rather not know it. The first one is Oku, a powerful god of bears and a guardian spirit of Rashomon who's closely connected to the narrative. Oku might not be the most sophisticated of all characters, even in terms of gameplay, but the more we learn about him, the more we can understand and appreciate why he is as harsh as the land he protects. The other potential companion, one of many, is a creature that we can literally craft with the ability connected to our character's dark hunger. It's an undead construct, an unnatural abomination spawned from tormented souls. It can be shaped into 3 character classes, a rogue, a fighter, or a warlock. If you feel like unleashing horrors upon the realms, one of many will surely be one of your finest works. And that's about all I can tell about the companions in Mask of the Betrayer without delving into spoilers. As for the antagonists, there are several of those in the game, and they are all connected to some degree by the protagonist's affliction. While some of them fit into the ancient evil cliché, they do so in the same personal manner as that of Torment. They don't want to destroy the world, but your character was unfortunate enough to get involved in their conflict. Interestingly, their identities take time to discover, while their motivations, which are also original, are slowly unveiled as we progress in the story. Whether we sympathize or empathize with any of them is up to us. We might as well give everyone the middle finger and do only what is necessary to free ourselves from their grasp. While there is no easy way out, as the protagonist can't just shrug their shoulders and go back to the Sword Coast, we can end the adventure in a number of ways, altering fates of many characters. When it comes to romance, when love is one of the central themes of the story, it is expected to be present. Although, like I said, there are many kinds of love, and romantic love is but one of them. As far as our party goes, only Safiya and Gann are romanceable, and only by characters of the opposite sex. Although allegedly they were both bisexual originally, which would fit their personalities and perception of love, but it was cut for some reason. In any event, their romantic arcs aren't a very big part of the game. Because of their personalities and the circumstances, their feelings for the protagonist develop organically and take time to blossom. It doesn't build up to a sex scene or anything like that, and I think that's for the best because A, I feel it would take away from the emotional depth of these affairs, and B, I for one wouldn't want to witness the clumsy, uncanny valley-inducing spectacle that would undoubtedly be a sex scene created in the Neverwinter Nights 2 engine. Not to mention that the character models for the romanceable characters are less than flattering. So yeah, focusing on the inner beauty and stuff was definitely the best course of action. Design-wise, Mask of the Betrayer is a mixed bag. There surely is a lot of cool stuff going on in it. We travel the harsh Rashaman, visit other planes of existence, and even talk to gods. But with that in mind, my biggest complaint is that the party size is limited to 4 characters. With 4 potential companions available, it's really scummy to lock us out of just one and their unique content. Sure, you can circumvent this limitation with a console command or a mod, but this obviously obliterates the balance of this already easy game. Another thing that sucks about Mask of the Betrayer is that it's a crappy continuation of the original campaign. Continuation is not even the right word, as Mask is a completely different adventure happening to the hero of the previous one. It completely fails at providing a satisfying closure to the earlier exploits of the Shardbearer. If you've played the original campaign, you know its ending was a total meme. Obsidian even took a slight jab at it in Mask, but didn't rectify the situation at all. They only graced us with cameos and mentions really. In theory, we learn about the fate of our previous party, but we do so by talking to 2 characters that make a proper appearance, and also in the ending. Meaning the end slides, the stills with narration slapped over them, not actual final moments of the adventure. So in practice, the bitter aftertaste remains. On the bright side, the companion influence system is much better than that of the base game. For starters, our influence score is not hidden from us anymore. More importantly, high influence not only unlocks extra dialogue, but provides mechanical bonuses for both the protagonist and the companions. Unfortunately, having negative influence with them doesn't give us anything, and I think it might have been interesting to be able to develop relations in both directions. After all, they don't have to love you to follow you, they might as well be terrified to disobey you and leave. However, you can kill all companions and then craft a very powerful item using their soul essences. As you can see, there are actual benefits to being evil in Mask of the Betrayer. This is what this campaign does way better than the base game and most CRPGs for that matter. The evil path is an interesting, viable choice. Many adventure designers seem to forget that there are other types of evildoers than thugs and lunatics, and yet they are often our only options to roleplay. Generally, evil characters don't necessarily think they're evil, although of course in Mask we can do absolutely despicable things, atrocities that make the practical incarnation of the Nameless One look like a little bitch. But our evil can be poetically just as well. In one instance in particular, I was in awe of how cool and satisfying it was in relation to the story, and I play do-gooders almost exclusively. I reload when I made a character sad with a wrong dialogue option. The point is, the path of evil in Mask of the Betrayer plays out differently than the one for good and neutral protagonists. Non-evil and evil characters often have different dialogue options and different abilities connected to the curse they suffer from. But most importantly, our actions have consequences, including opening and locking some further choices, and this chain of events we build this way leads to one of several endings of the journey, and honestly, you can't go wrong with any of them. And speaking of journey, the campaign is much more cohesive than your typical CRPG too. It follows the Chekhov's gun principle. If it's irrelevant to the story, cut it. There are no filler quests in Mask of the Betrayer. Everything has a purpose and serves the narrative or character arcs. It's very refreshing really, considering how games have been bloated with low-effort content for years now. The level design follows the same rule. If a level exists, there is something important happening in it, and it is only as big as it has to be. While most of them have a unique atmosphere, further enhanced by the amazing soundtrack by Rick Schaffer, they do tend to be somewhat simple. As a result, there isn't much to explore in Mask of the Betrayer if you like to wander around. For example, Mulsantir, the only town we visit, feels empty and dead. The day and night cycle changes nothing in the behavior of the townsfolk. They act like props rather than NPCs. It's light years behind The Witcher, which was theoretically powered by the same engine. You might want to check out my review of it, by the way. As far as gameplay is concerned, Mask of the Betrayer is very story-driven, and I mean very. Therefore, exploration, combat, and everything else really might seem like a story in porn. You expect it to be there, but it's not that important. And yes, I stole that from John Carmack. Anyway, Mask of the Betrayer is not an all-rounder like Baldur's Gate 2, for instance. It is very much like Torment, meaning both the good and the bad, but it's obviously much smaller. Content-wise, you can play any class and race present in Neverwinter Nights 2, be they official or fan-made. With multi-classing and prestige classes, this gives you countless possible combinations. Characters start out at level 18 unless their race is level adjusted or you import a higher level one. Oh, and remember, you don't have to import your character from the original campaign. There are no story benefits to it whatsoever because character files don't contain any plot info. And besides, Mask is rather easy, so losing your endgame equipment from the OC doesn't change anything. Mask of the Betrayer doesn't deviate significantly from the base game in terms of difficulty. The design team stuck to the philosophy of making the game suitable for new players with no prior knowledge of Dungeons & Dragons. The only thing that makes Mask of the Betrayer slightly more difficult is the introduction of the classic 8-hour rest system, and it's not even about getting ambushed. You see, the player character's curse also manifests itself in its own gameplay system. We have the so-called spirit energy meter that we have to constantly monitor and sort of manage the spirit energy. As it dwindles, the protagonist starts to feel ill effects, and if it ever reaches 0, they obviously die. I don't want to delve into spoilers here, but we can either feed the dark hunger or suppress it. Both approaches have their pros and cons, as well as unique abilities and story choices connected to them. Many people found this system annoying actually. The good news is, if you share their opinion and don't mind a bit of cheating, you can disable it with a console command. With the level cap increased to 30, our party ascends to so much power that they might as well be gods to typical mortals. We fight a crapload of enemies, but only in terms of numbers, not their variety. You can tell that this was a low-budget expansion as there aren't that many new creatures to be found. Sadly, there are a lot of fights in Mask of the Betrayer and we can't skip them like you could in Torment. When winning is but a formality, there's no sense of accomplishment, and if I don't feel like I've won, then why even engage in a confrontation? Well, because I have to progress the story. Yay. Strangely, I feel like loot isn't an incentive to fight either. There simply aren't that many non-generic items to be found in Mask. Some of them, found early on, can last for the majority of the adventure. If you want to upgrade often and have the most powerful gear, you have to use the simplified crafting system. It's based on the spirit essences we collect from defeated foes and doesn't even require a workbench. So, in a sense, you often have to craft your own reward. While spirit essences are a pretty good idea, item drop in Mask is ridiculous. I mean, you can literally find hundreds of gold pieces or +3 items in barrels in the streets. In terms of Realms lore, this is 2 years of modest living expenses just lying around. Do the good people of Mulsantir shit gold, or is Rashomon suffering from hyperinflation? Regular traders in the streets sell items worth tens of thousands of gold pieces and more. It's like we walk up to them and ask, "Hi, do you have the Mighty Blade of Utter Fucking Destruction +5 in stock?" And they are like, "Yeah, sure, what color would you like?" If there is something you have to suppress harder than your character's dark hunger, it is your disbelief. All in all, most problems of Mask of the Betrayer are elephants in the room that I don't pay attention to because I enjoy the story so much. The rest is just an average-ish way to progress it. If you're looking for an all-around awesome CRPG experience in the likes of Baldur's Gate 2 or 3, you might be disappointed. Love is not only the central theme of Mask of the Betrayer, it's also what made the game materialize in the first place. Love for computer games, to be precise. What it lacks in combat, exploration, and what have you, it makes up with passion its developers put into making the best of what little resources they had. And aside from the brilliant story, this is what makes Mask of the Betrayer a true spiritual successor to Planescape Torment and a great story-driven game in its own right.